Tuesday, January 2nd, 2024. Welcome to the morning show. I'm your host, Al. On this show, we cover horse racing topics in the morning for you horse racing fans that want to get your fix of horse racing in the morning. And today's morning show topic, we are going to be handicapping the entire Parx card for today. And we're going to be going live for Parx at 11:50 a.m., covering the entire card, analysis, picks, and plays for every single race with open chat. And we're laying the groundwork for that card here on the morning show by handicapping. I'm going to be looking at the card, the data for the first time. What I know is we have 10 races here today at Parx. Weather's supposed to be good. It's cold. And they have some pretty good fields, large fields. That much I know. And I know a lot of people, when they handicap the races, a lot of them do it on the fly when they get to the track, or even race by race, maybe in the morning. And on today's show, I did one of these yesterday for Gulfstream Park. I'm going to be presenting my way of handicapping. And I believe it's a very efficient way, not going on a witch hunt first time through the card, being very direct. What I do is first I look at the pace scenario for the race, and I pick out the early speeds, the ones that look fastest early. And what I do is I take note of those, and then I go over and I look at the horses and the trainers briefly and jockeys, and I look for the ones that look fastest with the best speed figures. And what I do is I set up a sheet, a note sheet, and ready to go. You know, I got the races listed, and on the right side, I list the pace horses. On the left side, I list the ones in order who I think have the best shot to win. And to the left of the numbers later, when the scratches come out, I list the scratches on the left-hand side. So it works for me. The first time through, I'm very direct. Go with the strongest angles when I put these selections together, and then I have a chance to make adjustments as the card unfolds, handicapping a little deeper and seeing what's going on the board, structuring plays, what have you. And this is a big day, Tuesday today. Why? Because we are coming off the long weekend, and it's sort of like a Monday when it's not a holiday weekend. It's the chance for you to come back. Maybe you played the races over the long holiday weekend and you got creamed. And this gives you a chance for redemption on this Tuesday. You say, okay, I lost this much on the weekend, and now it's a chance to come back. It's like sort of like Monday Night Football. You know, you played the Sunday games and you got crushed. And you're like, what am I going to do now? Monday gives me a chance of redemption, Monday night. All right, I'm going to go to my loan shark or my Shylock, and I'm down $1,500 from Sunday. So I'm going to borrow $2,000, and I'm going to put it on the Cowboys on Monday Night Football, and I'll make back my $1,500, and I'll make an additional $500. Gives me a chance to come back. Well, that's what this Tuesday does in racing today. Hopefully that's not the case, but it gives us a chance it gives those who maybe lost money a chance to come back. And also, and even if you won money, if you're a regular player, we're going to be giving you some picks today. So I see somebody commented, and then we're going to get started on this card. But first, coffee. This is Kahlua coffee. It's good. It's good. It's Kahlua coffee flavored with vanilla. And there's what it looks like. All right, get that out of the way. And let's see, who's here joining us? We're going to be looking at Parx. I'm excited about today's card, and we're going to be doing a live show, 11:50. And so I'm going to be using these picks during the show when structuring my wagers. And we're doing just one track today. Just one track. It gives that gives me an opportunity to converse with the audience, with everybody talking here, structure plays, and cover each race thoroughly. So let's get started. I see Tuner is here. Hi, Tuner. Good morning. Good luck today. Good to see you. And let's get started on this card. We're going to go through this card here, 10 races. And we got a full schedule here this morning. We got the morning show. Then I'm going to be meeting up with Brooklyn guy, Vinny Bracco, for coffee at Starbucks, and then come back and go live for live horse racing picks at Parx, covering the entire card. So we got a full schedule today, and it's going to be an exciting day. Really looking forward to it. Okay, race 1 at Parx. What do we got here? It's a 1.70 mile, 12.5 claimer for 4-year-olds and up, which have never won 2 races. Okay. Let's take a look at the pace scenario, and we're going to see what we have. Oh, God, let me bring this up. Okay. And there. Okay. Get some of PPs up. And if you need PPs and you don't have them, I have a link in the description area down below where you can get free Brisnet PP. So expand that description area. You can get it for Parx and all the other tracks running. Race 1, looking at the pace figures, and the pace looks like it's interesting. We have the 5 and the 8 and the 9 who are looking like they could go to the front, but they're stretching out. They usually run shorter races, so that might not be the case. I guess Max Forrester is I'm torn between 8 first and maybe 5 second as the pace here. Max Forster and number 5, Marvelous Moondance. No, 9-5. It's tentative because those are stretching out, but they have shown some speed. And so, and there are none here that are really perennial front runner. 2 did show some early speed, and so I'm thinking 2-9, 2-9, and then 5 as the early speed. I'll put a dash between those. And now let's go look at the actual speed figures for this race. 12.5 claimers. So I'll scan the card. So I got the pace out of the way there. Got some surface. I know already I can not throw the 3 out. I mean the 4 out. The 3 out. Okay, and it's just 12.5K. And at first glance here, hey, 2 has a race 3 back that looks kind of interesting. 3, no. 4, no. 5 is very consistent. I mean, it's a hard knocker. It goes as a 6-year-old. As it first started as a 6-year-old. As a 4-year, it ran a route last year in July. But its sprint numbers are pretty good. They fit. As a 4-year-old, it was running some good route races at Parx. So this one's a little interesting, and he figures to, might be the cheap speed, but he has consistent numbers. I don't like 6. 7 ran a couple of decent races out on turf at Laurel, but its dirt numbers here, making its first start at 5, Kings Swansboro, not really impressing me. Hasten, then the 8 looks like the one. Comes from allowance optional claim for Jeremy Laprida. And it has a little bit of speed. Polara is 11%. Just based on the pure horse, I got to think that 8 is pretty solid. He looks like the most solid play here. So I'll write him down. I'm doing this without looking at the odds first. I don't want to be swayed. number 7. I just want to go down to the 9. Fairly lightly raced. Coming out of a claim 30 for Jeffrey Engelhardt. Won the last race at 30, maiden claim, and finally broke through. That was on a wet track. We know we can get the distance. We know it has a little bit of speed. And a very clean running line. It's not one that has disastrous races, but it's not the fastest of those in here. For Jeffrey Engelhardt, 12% trainer, and he teams up with Andre Chivarin Wari. Together, they win 21%. So I got to consider this one based on the early speed and the win and the connections. Tight race. Maybe one where you set something up with it. Pick a winner and maybe do something underneath. I don't like 3. 3 does have a big race at Aqueduct last April, but since then hasn't even come close. One gets first time Lasix. The 2 had one back to back at Parx, 3-4 back. I don't want to put too much time into this one now. 1 has 5 has very consistent numbers. So I'm going to list that one second, the 5, and then the one that broke its maiden third, 8-5. Just by the numbers, the 5 has some numbers, and oh God, the 2. 8-5, and then I'll list 9. I'll work off those. And we'll see what the board plays, and we'll bring up some what their odds are for that race. So I picked 8 as my first choice, and 5 is my second, and 9 is my third, and 8 opens at 6-1. Am I seeing things? And the 5 opens at 9-2. Okay, so far no favorites here. No, the 9 is the opening favorite, and that's my third choice. And the 5 opens at 9-2. That's my second choice. That 2 Take Me to the Moon that had the decent race some far back. I just want to look at 2, and then we're going to move on to the next race. That's the one that had the big race, and it's part of the speed, probably the speed. It won 3 back. For Catalano. The last race was on a good track. What happened? Set clear pace. We're just going to put 2 fourth choice with a question mark and see and then we'll look further after the scratches and see what the board brings us. And we're going to move on to race 2. Race number 2, big fields, folks. 9 entries last race. And I think it was 10 entries last race. And all races on dirt here. 10 entries this race. So they put together a nice Tuesday card at Parx. And race 2 is a maiden claim 10K, and it's a sprint, 5.5 furlong dirt sprint. So speed's really important here. So we move back and see what the pace looks like for race 2. And if you're joining us, welcome to the morning show. It's a horse racing show covering different topics every day. And on this episode, we're going to be handicapping all the races for the first time at Parx to prepare for the 11:50 show, where I'm going to be coming live covering Parx exclusively, all the races, analysis, picks, and plays, open chat. So in race 2, it looks like a stampede between the 2, 3, 4, and 8 as the quicker ones getting out early. Now the 2 didn't really show speed. It showed diminished speed last race, but that was 7 furlongs. At 6 furlongs, it ran a little quicker, getting a jockey change here. The 3, I'm looking one that had in good form here. The 3 coming in from Delaware, and no, I'm not really impressed. Gets Ruben Silvera. 4, lots of mischief. I'm looking for that early speed, somebody that flashed some speed that should go to the front. And the last hope here is towards the night. I've got a lot of entries here who are turning back, who haven't run at 5.5 before. And there's no clear front runner here. Maybe the 9. In this one, it's usually running at route races. So for a 5.5 furlong sprint, I'm really not seeing a clear front runner. I want to look at one that ran at Parx and at least ran the distance. I'm kind of thinking Mob Justice turning back. It will be quicker. And it had shown some speed a few back, running a 22-9 on August 21st. So I'll just list 2 as the speed and work off of that. And let's see what their numbers look like in this race. Race 2 at Parx. And if you're just joining us, what I'm hoping to do here is not only prepare for the show myself, but give you out there an efficient way, a timely manner to address these cards when you handicap the races. Save yourself time, be more accurate, and you go in with a plan and take some notes, because you're going to have to make adjustments again the second time too. I go after the key factors in this, and to knock that out of the way, I go in there with a plan, for example, and then we're going to get right to it. Just in case you're joining us later, I go out there, I put a scratch pad together on the right side, who I see as the early speed in order, and on the left side, the ones who I think have the best shot to win listed in order. And I have a dash between the 2 and 9. That's not a dash between the 9 and 5. I had 2 or 9. I believe one of those 2 are going to grab the lead, possibly, and then maybe 5. So that's the pace. On the left, I got the 8 I like best to win, followed by 5, 9. And I have a question mark next to the 2, because the last couple of races of the 2, it does have some speed. You see, I got 2 of the speeds there. On the right, the 2 and the 9, and I both have them. I don't have them to win, but I have them as 3rd, 4th choice. And so that works out for playing, say, trifectas. So that's what we got over there. So that's how I set it up. I'm not shooting around. I'm not looking for fancy angles the first time through, getting lost there and turn it into a 3+ hour endeavor handicapping the card. I can usually get through it. Yesterday's card, I got through. It was a little complicated. There were some races a little longer than normal. It took the show is 2 hours and 38 minutes. So I figured it took me, between the times taking a couple of breaks and giving an intro, probably about 2 hours and 15 minutes. So I covered these thoroughly, and those picks, from yesterday, did very well. I came out on top for the day using them. So good morning, Jeffrey. Glad you could join us here. Good luck today. So let's go. So I'm presenting my handicapping style and the picks. So this is a show you may want to go back to while the card's unfolding. Maybe it's early in the card, the first, second race. So you go back to the morning show and you want to hear, you're interested in the late pick 4. So you play the late, you scroll forward towards the end of the show, and you see why. I'll talk about it more in depth, why I like certain horses. So you can get that. You'll hear angles that I don't have the time to discuss as the card is unfolding. I give some angles, the main reasons why I'm using my horses and why I'm making the plays, but I'm not going to be able to talk about them as in depth as I do here, saying why I throw certain horses out and why I pick the ones I pick. Now, this is a 5.5 furlong race. I'm just going to go down, look at the PPs. I don't like the 2 already. I'm not looking at the odds. I don't like the 3. Now, the thing about the 2 is, one is looks interesting. It's running at Penn, and the one time it did run at Parx, it got eased. This horse got eased twice. Twice when it ran at Parx, the race 2 back and the race 5 back, it got eased both times. It didn't even finish the last time at Parx. But it runs okay at Penn. But what's the deal at Parx? And it also had a vet scratch before its first race. This one, it looks like it's in trouble, and it's staying at the 10K level, and its only races that were decent were out of town. This is a freaky bunch. Here's what I'll say about this race. Valesky, number 7, has a couple good races at Parx. A few of them. One was on out of the last 4 at Parx. Now it has a pattern here that where it runs bad race, good race, bad race, good race. Today it's due for one of its bad races, but at least it's consistent. And you got the trainer, Claudio Gonzalez, 17% at Parx, gets Luis Ocasio. I can't stand this jockey. I hate to say it, and I hate to go here, but this guy seems like one who plays games. This jockey, some of his rides are very suspicious looking. But it looks like the most consistent entry, so I'm going to have to list this first. And that's number 7. Already, I'm not crazy about this race. I'm going to have to say that I really don't like these horses. This is almost a pass race for me. And unfortunately, I got to use the one that seems to be breaking down all the time. The one is my second choice. It eased twice at Parx. Do I have another? And what about 2? The one that I see is the early speed. That one is dropping, but you got a jockey who's 1%. 1 win in 24 races. I'm going to put a P next to this race as a possible pass race, or I'm forced to use the 7 despite Casio. Let me look at that one. I think you got your single there in the 7, despite the jockey. I'm going to excuse it for the 1. 2 back. It was run on a wet track. 2 out of the last 3 at Parx makes it the clear winner. So, and let's look at the odds. So the only ones I'm listing here are 2-1. I can't deal with the other ones. And the 2, Claudio Gonzalez, 17% at Parx. And let me look at the trainer of the 1. How's he at Parx? 15%, Ed Coletti Jr. Anthony Nunez, jockey, 15%. 7-1, I'm going to make them almost co-favorites. Because there are 2 races at Penn, the last 2 at Penn. The last one wasn't that good, slow into stride. I just want to check their pace, and then I'm going to go back, see how they figure in this pace. 1 is really going to have to come off the pace. It did run a quick opening quarter at Penn on July 21st. Okay, how about the 7, Valesky? I'm just going to leave 2 as the main pace there, and 7 first and 1 second. Okay, let's go on to race 3. Race number 3 at Parx, 3 of 10. This is 1 mile on dirt. One mile on dirt, 4-year-olds and up. Okay, 1 mile on dirt, optional claim $25K. Okay, let's talk about it. And I want to give you the odds of these horses on the last race. Number 7 opens at 4-1, and number 1 opens at 9-2. And the favorite there is number 4, Lots of Mischief, with Ness and Pennington. Let's take a look at that. Ness and Pennington always take money, but are they really deserving of a favorite? I just want to get back to this because I see that I don't have the morning line favorite, Lots of Mischief. Now this one is more of a closer. I just want to check 4 real quick, and then we're going to move on to see if I... Dropping from 25K. I'm going to have to slide this one in into the second slot. because it does have a race at Churchill Downs at 6 furlongs at Maiden Claim 30. And when Nest drops, he is 27%, and he got the jock. So I'm going to, slip 4 in as my second choice. And I'm going to put the 1 there with a question mark as my third choice. And now, see, I'm trying to be as thorough as I can here. I don't want to leave. I want to be as direct as possible. I'm actually going to make those. The last race at Parx wasn't good. Lacked speed. We'll have to look further. It's out of a great sire into mischief. And you got Ness and that 1. I'm going to make them co-second choice, 4 and 1. I'll put a dash between them, but I'll list 4 before the 1. Now in the third race, let's look at the early speed in race number 3. Get our speed out of the way, and then we move over. As the saying goes, pace makes the race. And then taking the speed in mind and the numbers and the jockeys and trainers, we break down, we land on our best horses to win. And then later on, we'll know who the scratches are, and we could go forward from there. And then once post time comes around, we see what the board looks like. And we, again, take a closer look at some of the horses and construct our tickets. Okay, 1 mile. I'm going to go down the line, look at these horses, and see, okay, for 1, for example, is running very consistently. Optional claim 40. This is optional claim 25. For Jennifer Trueheart, what a great name, Trueheart. Jennifer's 11% in Parx at 38 races, very lightly. Abner Adorno jockey, 13%. Huh. Well, I could exclude the 6 safely. What a group we have here. Spread race. 7. Okay, luckily there's only 7. Lupi Preciado looks pretty solid. Gets Silvestri Gonzalez up at 22% together. Has a really nice race to run back to 3 back. But it's not that simple. Okay, let me look at the pace there. I wanted to do the pace first. Number 3. Number 3 is the clear pace. Carnivore. Paco Lopez is here today. He was at Parx yesterday. Yeah, number 3 is the pace in race 3. Running good fractions. Has run as low at Churchill Downs. Hasn't raced at Parx. Churchill Downs ran like a 23-0. He might be like way out front. I'm looking for somebody else that flashed some speed. Or at least tries to. I have one, and I'll list 1 as the second speed. So that 1 will be chasing. 1 was in first place at a mile 72 backs at Parx, but 23.7 for. It doesn't have the speed of the 3, who's already ran at 23 flat, hit a mile and 16th, 23 and 4 last race. So I think it's safe to say, and that those 2 are the fastest early. So we're going to go back now to the numbers. And now 8 o'clock, geez. So getting us, with the intro to the show and everything, I'm on the third race, and it's been a half hour. So 1 is a very clean horse for Jennifer, but the others there's some that are just a little faster on their best. Number 2, Jeeper, ran at Aqueduct for Michael Catalano last time. Finished third, a half a length back, and but earlier in the year, this time of year, it seems to run. It ran some really fast races at fairgrounds, and it gets Miguel Sanchez up, the jockey trainer, together at 21% out of 94 races. Catalano Jr. is 14 at Parx. So I got a list too, just based on the races at the fairgrounds. And this one is moving forward after following a 3.5-month layoff. Seems to be rounding towards those quicker speeds. 2 looks like the fastest in this race. 3, the early speed is a quandary. Ran horribly at 2 back. Ran halfway decent in the last race at the claiming 20 level. Now we got a trainer change. Goes to Robert Moscow. First time with the team. Does connect 16%. But it has a big race at Churchill Downs, at least speed-wise. Claiming 30. Finished third. 3 back. And this is another one that has some very fast races earlier in the year. This time of year, it seems to run better. Traditionally, he's been slow every year in the summer. And this one has speed, a speed edge. So I got to consider that race 3 back, even though the last 2 were nothing special. Now I'm going to go down. So I'm 3. I'll hold the phone there. Paco Lopez on the 4. Been running regularly at Parx. Has some nice numbers. I'm actually going to give wide open race. Wide open race. Be careful in this one. Lupe Guerrero has dancing. He's running at optional claim 40. Has the race in September on a sloppy track. Were very impressive. I'm tempted to go 7 as my second choice. I don't even know. I'm actually going to use Paco Lopez and the 4 as a co-win choice with the 2. Oh, there's 2 first. One actually, this is a true. Let me go back to the 2 a second. Coming from a bigger circuit. And Paco here is I don't know. 7 is like 217. I mean, I see all 3 of them as a big shot to win. If I want to reach off the board here, I don't want to go crazy with this. One has a very clean running line, not quite as fast as the others. I told you this is a spread race, and I'm not gonna invest any more time in this one. 7. I mean, 5 North Pole. I'll put a question mark next to it. Nah. Only a 4% trainer at Parx. Came off a big effort on a sloppy track. Was running much better early in the year, making its first start as a 6-year-old for a 4% trainer and a 2% jockey. Gallimore. 217. I'll put number 1 as my 4th choice with a question mark. Let's see the board. I think we can get the winner at least out of that and narrow that down. Let's look at 4. Hey, Benjo Chia the third. Good morning, all. Good morning, Benjo. Thanks for joining us. I'm Handicapping Parx show at 11:50 today. So I'm doing this show covering all the races at Parx, handicapping for the first time. Then I'm meeting Brooklyn guy Vinny Bracco. You've seen him. He's been on the show a few times here and there, co-hosting once in a while, and meeting him for Starbucks, and then coming back, and then we are going to be covering live Parx horse racing picks, all the races. So we're prepping for that show on the morning show today. Sometimes we do other topics. This is the second day in a row where we're handicapping a full card. I'm looking to give you an efficient way to handicap a card. So we've been through 3 races. Let's take a look at race 4. What does that bring? 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 10 races today. We only have 8 entries here, 7 furlongs on dirt. And race 4, it's for fillies and mares 4 and up. 4 and up. These are really like the 3-year-olds. That's why we're having 4 and up races here. They all turned 4 yesterday, right? What are the odds of every horse having its birthday on the same day? But no, seriously. So just a couple of days ago, they were 3-year-olds. Now they're 4-year-olds. So this race is technically like a 3 and up because none of them have turned 4 yet. You don't see horses born in January. They usually March and after. So in this race, we'll look at this 7 furlongs, one of those weird distances. Let's look at the pace. Now, 2 does have some early pace here. It gets Pennington riding for the 3rd time in a row, Divine Grace. Oh, let me look at the odds of the last race. That's what I do. I want to give it an order here. I'm curious what the odds are. I said 217 all are, co-favorites here. 217. I meant 247 and 1 with a question mark. 247 and 1 with a question mark. Okay. I see it right there. So the 2 opens. Now these 3, 247, I give them all an equal chance to win, really. 2 opens Jeeper at 7-2, 4 Rush Center 3-1, and 7 Dancidina at 4-1. And lo and behold, those are the 3 morning line favorites. They range in odds from 3-1 up to 4-1. And the 4th choice with a question mark, the 1 is 5-1. That's the next choice. Very tight race. And I told you, this is a wide open race. To give you an example, in race, the long shot in this race is 6, but all the other entries are open at between 3-1 and 5-1. So 6 of the 7 are very close as far as the odds go. It doesn't get any more contentious a race to pick than this. Okay, and now we go to race 4. And 2 does look like the speed here. It's running at 6 furlong 4. Wow, 4 might actually it 2 and 4. 2 is more inclined to go to the front. Let's put it that way. Fancy Skepta. We don't know what to expect. It does have some early speed because I see I'm looking at its running lines. Going across, always near the front. 3rd, at the first call. 3rd, 1.5 back. Last 2 back. First at the first call, that was on turf. Next one, 2nd by a length at the first call at 1 mile and 70. 2nd at the first call at 1 mile at Parx. 1st at the first call. So this one always likes to go to the front. That's its habit. 2, on the other hand, it has some fast early fractions, but it's stretching out from 6. So this one, I think. I have to think 7 going shorter is going to try and go after this here and take advantage. Turning back, it's going to probably show more early speed than when it runs 1 mile and 70. So I'm going to list both of them as I'm not sure which one's going to go to the front. Two's been running faster fractions, but at 6. And 7 always is running longer, but always is right near the front. So I'm going to list 2, 7 in that order. 2 has a little bit better, has shown the faster fraction so far. I'm going to put 2, 7 with a dash for the early speed. Now we're going to go and look at our the speed figures and the jockeys and the trainers and come up with our selections there. And look a little closer. We have Scott Lake. He ran 7 last race and did win at 10K. And this is an optional claiming race. And he does have Luis Ocasio up. And the two together at Parx for 14%. Scott Lake, 14% at Park, going back over 4,700 races. Jamie Ness with the number 2. I was talking about this one. Stretching out. Has a race 3 back at 6 where it just put up a big number. And that's when it was first out for Ness's barn. Ness is known for winning, first out after a claim. He's the king of that. And won that race, by 8 lengths, 9.5 lengths. Dueled on the front end. I like this one better than the Lake horse, the one. Paco Lopez on the 3, 2 and 3. It just keeps improving here at Parx. Last 4 races, it's finished it has finished the second in a lot. Out of the last five races, it's finished second 3 times. It has a win and a third in there. And if you go back even further, if you go back 6 races, it's finished third twice. Third twice, second 3 times, and a first. So you got to can consider 2, 3. And it ran faster. The race it comes out of the same race as the 2, Ness's horse. Now it finished third 1.5 lengths. It finished behind the Ness horse, but it ran 4 wide. So covered a lot of ground, but the Ness's horse prevailed, with a perfect trip. So far I'm going to list 2, 3. The trainer, Paco Lopez, is 44% with this jockey, Jacinto Solis. I just want to see if Paco rode it the last time, because I want to see if there's a jockey upgrade here. Yeah, he did. I'm still going to go, I think the Paco, the Ness entry, and slightly ahead of the Paco entry here, just because of the speed and the trainer. So I'll list 2 first. Let me see the rest of the horses first before I jump to conclusions. 4, 5, I don't like. I'm curious about the 7. I'm going to list 2, 3 first, second, and I'm going to list the 7, who has some decent, maybe the sprinting helps. I don't know. The last race, it was horrible. Prompted pace inside, flattening on the turn, turning back. I'm going to list 2 first, 3 second, and for third, I'm going to list 2 of them here to see if we can round out the try. And Claudio, 4 and 7 is co-choices for third and fourth. Give a slight edge to Claudio from the Archer Therapy from Claudio Gonzalez, 17% here at Parx with Andy Hernandez. Together, they're 19%. Just the 7 because of the speed. And I list the 6. It's the 6, not the 4. So let's get the odds here on these, and then we'll go on to the next race. We've been doing that at 45 minutes, and we're through 4 of the 10 races here at Parx. And as far as the odds go, I listed 2 as my top choice, 3 as my second. And lo and behold, the Nest Horse 2 is opening at 5-2 is the opening favorite. And the 3 is the next choice at 7-2. So I seem to be on the same page as the odds maker here. And I have 6-7 as third choices, as the next choices. And sure enough, 6 is the next choice at 9-2. And 7 is the next choice at 6-1. So I matched up with the morning line racer maker exactly on this race. And next race is a 12 race thing. So I just want to say hello to a couple people, and I want to say hi. Our Stephanie, as hardcore as they come here. Good luck to all involved in Parx on a Tuesday. Thanks, our Stephanie. Good morning. Thanks for joining us. Covering all the races here at Parx. Irene, good morning, Al. Thanks for the analysis. Going to try to listen to the replay as soon as I get to the office. Good morning, Irene. Have a great job today. Thanks for coming in and saying hello. Yeah, this is a video. Irene brings up a great point. This is something you may want to even go back to during the show here. During the card as it unfolds, maybe you have an idea. Maybe you want to see, you're just concerned about the late pick 4, so you move the video up towards the later races, and you get analysis here for the races that you are not going to get during the live show as a card unfolds. I'll give you some, main reasons why I'm picking the horse from the notes here, but I'm not going to be telling you why I'm throwing out this horse, why I'm throwing out that horse. Here I dig deeper in the first time through the card. Okay, I'm going to be back in just a couple minutes, and we're going to continue with race 5. And race 5 is a big field. They put together a good card today. Okay, we're back. And if you're just joining us, welcome to the morning show. I'm Al, your host of All Horse Racing All the Time. On today's morning show, we usually cover different topics on this show, and it's in the morning for you horse racing fans or horse racing players who want to get your horse racing fix early in the morning. And it's a live show, and it's always a lot of fun. And today we're covering Parx. So what I'm doing the first time through the card, for those of you who are just joining us, I am breaking down the race this way. I look first at who figures to be the early pace in the race or the early paces in the race to get an idea who's going to be out front forwardly placed at the start of the race. And then I look at the speed figures, the jockey trainer stuff, and combined with the early pace, I come up with who I think is most likely to win the race. And I list that in the other column. I break it down into two columns. You see, these are my columns here. On the right is the early pace. On the left is the winners who I have. So I have notes when I'm doing the show and making my plays. And to the left of the numbers, when the scratches come out, I'll list the scratches. And I dig deep, but not too deep, handicapping the card for the first time. I don't want to get bogged down looking for hidden gems or fancy angles. I go for the most important angles when handicapping a race and go for there. I could look for my hidden gems and construct my plays when the card is unfolding after scratches. You don't want to get bogged. I don't want to get bogged down looking for hidden gems and then turn out that I spent 5-10 minutes finding a hidden gem on a single race and only to learn that it gets scratched. So that can always be handled down the road. And I'm covering one card. That's what I'm going to be doing when I do these shows. One card for the live shows. That leaves me time to talk with the audience, answer questions, construct plays. And today, play-wise, considering the prices here, I'll probably be looking for daily doubles. They have the daily doubles there, price in mind. Exactas, and they do have the 50-cent tries. Pick threes, if they have a minimum $1 pick three, they don't offer the 50-cent ones that the other track, like say Gulfstream, for example, or the tracks that get, I think Turfway Park, they have the 50-cent pick threes, and sometimes they're huge. So I'm going to be focusing, looking for a double trifecta and exacta plays here, work off of there. Okay, let's get to the next race. Race 5, all races on dirt. This is another 7 furlong. That's the weird distance. 21K, and we have 12 entries in this race. So let's take a look at that. First, we're going to go right to we get the pace scenario out of the way first. Race 5 of 10. And we're going to have the live Parx horse racing picks, all the races. That's going to be an 11:50 show today. Post time is at 12:05. Right away, I scan through who looks to be forwardly placed. See, Brooklyn Heights has a lot of early speed. That's the number 8 horse. It's run some quick fractions. Seems to run faster early on a wet track. Dexter Haddock is up there. How about the 2? I think the early speeds between the 2, Divine Twist and 8. I'll give Brooklyn Heights the slight edge in the early speed. But 2 looks like the type that likes to go to the front early. And it has run 7 before. I'm going to give it and let me look at Wicked Lady for a second. It's another one. No, Luis, no. It did take the lead early last race at 7, but it ran like a 24-4, and that's not going to cut it here. I'm looking at these for standouts early. I'll go at Wicked Lady likes to go to the front. I don't see it getting the front today. I'll go a tentative 8, having a slight pace edge over the 2, but 2, 8. 8 is not really a go to the lead type, but it does have early speed. So maybe this is the type that will kind of save its energy and then run second and overtake the main speed. Is the 2 the most inclined to go to the lead? Always there early. I think 2 is most likely to go to the front early, but it might get hurt doing that because the 8 has overall earlier speed, has shown earlier speed in the past. I'll do a tentative 8-2, and I'll remember what it is, and I'll put a dash between them because I think 2 will go to the early speed, so I'll put a 2 with an H next to it, which means it can get hurt by trying to go to the front early in this race. And I'll put a dash with the 7 because it really has a superior earlier speed, but doesn't like to go to the front. And now let's look at the numbers here for this. We'll go from there. And then we'll look at the opening odds. I don't look at the odds first. Don't want to get swayed. Oh, boy. 1 looks really good compared to, say, the 2. The only thing about the 2 is he has a weird thing that he runs a couple of bad races, and then he has a good race. A couple of bad races, then a good race. And today's due for one of his good races. And the trainer is only 8% at Parx. So even though it has speed, I'm not trusting it. And the 1 is this is 12.5. It's dropping for Sanchez Pinero. Very low percentage trainer, but maybe the horse has enough to get it done. We know it can get the distance. Finished second last time at this distance at Aqueduct in April. 1.5 at 7 furlongs. And has early. He seems to run very faster. He runs faster every year this time of year, early in the year, and has the numbers to go back. And ran again at Aqueduct at 25K level in February. Put up a nice race. I prefer that over the 2 with the speed. 3 I hate by the numbers. River City Rocker did win its last race at 10 and is dropping for Carla Morgan with Ruben Silvera. Together, they're 17%, 1 out of 6. And Morgan at Parx. Clean running line. Down and dropping in class, Morgan is 9%. I still like the 1 best. Tempted to Touch, number 5. Last raced at this distance in August. And consistent. Did win 3 back at 6. A low percentage trainer. I'm looking for something better here. Another race that's very wide open here from the ones I've seen. Now the number 6 reacted badly when it had been running some consistent races. Reacted badly when they stretched it to 7 furlongs, 3 back, finished 16 back, and it tired. So this one may not like the distance. The 6. 7 is in bad form, and 7's the one that I talked about with the early speed. I think these 2 and 7 may cancel each other out completely. Low percentage trainer, 4%, Farrell Man. Low percentage jock, 7%, Adam Bowman in poor form. I don't like the 7. Even if the 2 does bounce back, the 2 bad races in a good race pattern today do good. I think others are faster that I've seen so far than the 2 and 7. So those two will duke it out early. Uriah St. Louis, the trainer of the 8, one of the most hideous trainers here at Parx. 2,364 races with a lousy 5% winning percentage. And the horse is in bad form right now. I don't like it. Only positive is dropping in class. And even when St. Louis drops in class, he's only 4% anyway, 352%. The jock trainer together, 7%, so I don't like 8. 9 is in poor form. Does have a good race 3 back for Lupe. And it is, last 2 were not good races. What a poor group. Well, 7.5K claimers. Number 10 catches my eye. I think the turnback's going to help this. I don't know. It had a bad race last time. It got stuck running between horses. But the race 3 back at 1 at a mile 70, at 7 furlongs at Laurel in April, it ran a nice race and finished third by a neck at the maiden special weight. Third by a neck at the maiden special weight level. So I definitely got to respect number 10. This may be the one. And the trainer, Cathal Lynch, is 21% at Parx in over 1,500 races. When she teams up with Angel Rodriguez, who's 21% win percentage, together in 26 races, jockey trainer, they're winning 38% in the money, 65% together with a 2.51 ROI. So I got to see this one as my top pick here, 10, unless the 11 does something crazy. No. Okay, so I like number 11, 10 based on everything I've seen as my top choice. Wicked Lady, Lupe. I don't like those last 2 races. I don't like the 8, 7. Now I'm getting refreshed. I don't really like the 6. 4 is a little interesting. Dropping. Claim is down. I know there was one I like better than these. I like 1 second best. The trainer is terrible. But the jockey trainer together have worked well. 11% together with a 2.4 ROI. The trainer is only 3% at Parx, 97 races, dropping in class. Even when they drop in class, only, get this, 0 wins in 32 tries. I'm hesitant to pick its second choice from these. 2 does have some early speed. Maybe he gets involved. Jockey Angel Castillo is 12%. He has that pattern, due for a good race today, and probably the speed. So it's between 2 and 4 as my second choice. And even, actually, I'm going to go, if 4 and 5. I'm going to list 4 and 5 as my next choices, and I'm going to split hairs between these two to come up with this. And 6 has some good races. A couple of seconds at 6.5. This is another one that's alternating good, bad. Do good today. 9% trainer, 7% jock. 10 is the winner here. I see that. That's 2's in bad form now. I'm not going to rely on a pattern because it really didn't get a layoff. Usually comes forward with that good race after a layoff, and it hasn't had its month layoff to bounce back like it has in the past when it had that pattern. It ran less than a month ago. So that gets rid of the 2. So underneath, I'll go 4 second best. 4, 6 second best. Let me just see if there's a tiebreaker here. 5, actually 5 second best. It's almost a coin flip. 4 is turning back. Yeah, Laurel. Okay, I'm going to list 4, 6 second best. A co one there. No, 5. 5 has won. 4 is in pretty good form. 5 is dropping. So I'm going to list 5 second best, 6 third best, and 4 4, 6 co favorites for the third spot. 10 over 4, 5, 6 exact. We'll see. Maybe you want to spread. Spent a little more time than I wanted to on that. Let's go on to race 6, the second half of the card. Let's see. Maria Feliz Mendez. Good morning. Hey, good morning, Maria. Covering the races. Thanks for joining us. Oh, let's see, Dan. Hey, Daniel. Big prices to be found in 7 furlong races. Cheap speed can't hang on. Distance horses are just starting to roll. Exactly. Most confusing distance for the public in general. Yeah, I can't stand these 7s. I said that earlier. Thanks for joining us. Christopher is here. Good morning, Christopher. Race 1, Parx. I like 7, win place. Okay, and win place won 7. Race 1, wow, I don't have them listed at all. But we'll cover them when we do the live show at 11:45. In order, I have 8, 5, 9, and 2 for 4th there. And in race 2, I do have the 1 listed. I have a 4 and 1. I like 7 best in the second, and I like either 4 or 1 for second place in that second. I give 4 a slight edge, but we'll see. And again, 2 looks like the speed in that race. And thanks for joining us, Christopher. On to race number 6, covering all 10 here in Parx's Tuesday card for today's main topic on the morning show. It's been a new show that we only started late last week here. And it's a horse racing show for the horse players and racing fans who want to get their fix of horse racing talk early in the morning. They don't want to have to wait till the afternoon. And it's a lot of fun, and I think you'll enjoy it. Let your racing friends know about it as well. And then what I'm doing here, for those of you who are just joining us, I have an efficient way of handicapping these cards. What I do first time through, I figure out the early pace, who my pace leaders are, and who my win. And then I go to look for the speed figures, win contenders, have a chart together, list the pace on the right, make notes, early win contenders in order on the left. And then still, I go with the most important factors here when putting together a card for the first time. when I handicap in the morning. I don't want to go crazy looking for hidden gems and strange long shots that have a chance, because the scratches haven't even been announced yet. You don't want to spend a lot of time on horses that might end up being scratched, which oftentimes happens. So I get through it the first time, looking at the most important factors: pace, speed, jockey, trainer second, speed figures, and go from there. And also to the left of the car, I told you on the right side, I got the pace, who I figure is best pace. And you notice in the last race, I put a 2 with an H next to it, and then 7 is the next pace. And I think 2 is going to get hurt by the pace, because that's the cheap speed there in that race. And 7 doesn't usually like to go to the lead, and 2 might find itself getting frustrated. And 2 right now usually runs his best race when he has a month or 2 off, and he doesn't have that month or 2 off coming into this race. He's off. He's coming off 2 bad ones, and he's ran less than a month ago, so he doesn't have that layoff. And to the on the extreme left, next to the race number, when the scratches come out, I'll write the scratch numbers over there later on, and then cover the races and look at other things, structure tickets, look at the board, take some time to look at body language and talk with everyone who's here participating. So we're covering one card here. Not going to be doing multiple cards where I get spread too thin. Okay, let's look at the race 6 of 10. It's a mile and a 16th. Another bunch of cheap claimers. Mile and 16th claiming 10K for 4 and up. Now remember, this is really like a 3 and up race, because all of these 4-year-olds were 3-year-olds just a couple of days ago. I mean, Senior Investment has some speed. It showed that speed on a muddy track, though. Today's not going to be muddy. Number 5. Dust Devil has some speed a little bit. No, they're not really front runners in this race. Hefner showed some speed last race, but it was on at 6.5, and this is 10. I'm looking for one that stands out, who has some early speed, or is inclined to go to the front. More or less a paceless race. No real front runners here. And the ones that flashed early speed did it on a wet track for some reason. The one that stands out is Dust Devil. That looks like the speed. It's usually close. At a mile and 70, it did run just a sub 23.89 opening quarter and 24.08. That should be good enough to grab the lead here today. And I'll put the secondary speed as Hefner. Showed decent speed the last couple. So Dust Devil 5 and 9 is the secondary early speed. But now, is the speed going to hold up? Let's look at some speed. Let's look at some figures. Let's look at some jockeys and trainers as we go down to race 6. Wow. Now, this is a 10K. The one is moving up in class. Won its last race by 4.5 here, and has some nice numbers. That runs very good at this time of year. Last year, was very fast during the cold weather here at Parx. So this one has better. It's a 7-year-old for Lewis Linder Jr. Okay, who's 15% here at Parx. Let's see what the others bring. 2 looks too slow. 3, Scott Lake is the trainer. And the last time Scott Lake had this one, he ran at the 7.5 level, and he won by a neck with a big race. Went into the barn then, I guess it was claimed of Lupe Guerrero, who turned around and ran it at the 10K level and came in fifth, 4.5 back. And Scott Lake claimed it back for 10K and then ran on a muddy track at the 10K level and settled in close, he gave way, finished fifth, 18 back in a race that represents a career worst in the mud. So now Scott is going to go back to it and drops it in class. And when Scott drops in class, I got to respect it based on the 3 back and Lake, and that Scott would reclaim it. So I think 3 is definitely a contender if you throw the last race out, because from what I'm looking at it has not run well in the mud in its past races, times on the mud. So definitely 1 is a contender, 3 is a contender. 4 ran well last time out and is dropping from 25K. And this trainer, Flores Coba Felix, is 25% when he drops with a 2.25 ROI. Jamie Ness, I think, has a vulnerable favorite in here, dropping slightly from 15 down to 10. At Parx has not really run that well to win here. And Noble has a horse that's fairly consistent. Yeah, this is a kind of a tight race. You got a Bailey Weatherly, though, 1% chalk. Noble is 10% here at Parx, one to consider. 7, look at this. This one is moving up in class after a very fast race. Now, he ran this fast before Samorante for Jacinto Solis last time. It seems like every time it runs this fast, it really regresses sharply. Like the last time it ran this fast, in 4 back, it won the race by a length and a quarter, and it came back, went up in class a little bit, and came in fifth and finished 8.5 back. Then it improved a little bit, finished second, and then exploded forward at 1.70 and won by 4.5. And now it's coming back. Its last race was December 20th. It doesn't have the only time that it doubled up. It had about of really good races. They gave it a month off, and now they're giving it just under 2 weeks. So I think this one might be a bounce candidate. You got Paco Lopez up. It's number 7. I'm going to list it in the back a little. I'm going to list it in the back a little bit. I can't leave it out based on that race, but it's moving up in class, and Jacinto Solis is 11% moving up in class. Who rode this one the last time? I got to know. Did Paco ride it the last time? Run race 6 here, folks. San Martino, number 7. Yeah, Paco's ridden at the last 2. Okay. I'm going to list 7 in the back. I'll list it and I'll work around it. I'll leave space to where I'm going to actually place it. I just, if it comes back with another race like that, it's a big win contender. If he doubled up, and it did double up once like that, albeit it had almost a month off. Try and be as, burn through with the most important factors. Has won 2 out of 4 with numbers like this. It just needs to double it up. They're asking a lot. And let's see how the trainer does on this kind of rest. It does win 16% Solus when the horse is off between 11 and 29 days with a 211 ROI. So you got to respect it. Three of the numbers that fit here. Number 8 really looks good. It's won 3 out of the last 4. Very consistent. Seems to have found its stride. So I'll definitely list this one. It actually is ranked faster than. We're going to list this one. Oh, God. The 4 there, I'll put it slightly ahead of the 7 because this one really knows how to win. Hasn't missed the board in 6 races. It came in second last race at a claiming level of 10, at the 7-5 level at 1-3 straight, and 2 races at the 5 and the 7-5 level came in third. So 3 wins, 2 thirds, and a second. But those 3 wins, it's in that form now. Really strong. And the name of the horse is Re-Rally with Adam Bowman and the trainer Harold Weiner, who has a 12% winning percentage here at Parx. 9 does have a good race really far back, and it ran a good one last race. And at the starter level, Hefner. Now that's going to be part of the early speed, and I think that one might, right, based on the current form, it has a race in September that is good enough to win this, and it seems to heat up. I can't pick them all. The one I actually like best is the 1 in this race. So I know who my contenders are now. 1 is running, well, it's coming off a very good race. But if I dig deeper, 1, 4, 7. Oh, it's really hard to say between those 2. Now, this 1 is moving up. 3, number 2, St. Marco, is circling towards a big one, and that's dropping from the 15 level. And it ran a race in March last year that would destroy these. Well, I'll go to the 4 a second. One comes off a 4-length Louis Linder Jr. Can he win back-to-back? This wide open, wide open. This is a spread race. What I'm actually going to do, I think all of these stand a chance. I'm going to list 1 first. Actually, no. I'm going to list 8 first, because this one seems to know its way around the winner's circle. 8 first. I'm not going to list 4 second. I'm going to list 7 second. The Paco horse. And I'll put a dash between those. Means they're kind of first top picks to win. If I had to split the 2 of them, I actually, it's a 8 second. I'm going to list, what a tough race. 1/3. 1 and 3. 3 can win the race. I'm actually going to include that in my top 3 with dashes, and then I'll list 1. This is a spread race, followed by 2 St. Marco. So I have 5 deep there, and let's see how the board sees these. 8, 7, 3, 1, 2. Can't get around it. Not cutting quarters. Don't know how I'm going to address this race, but we'll give you the odds. Okay, 8, Re-Rally opens at 9-2. The 7, you're getting good odds, 6-1 on Samorronti. And now remember, this one has 2 races out of the last 4 that beats these. Number 3, Senior Investment, listed at 6-1. 1, Secret Path at 6-1. And 2, St. Marco, 12-1. Now, I left out 2 of the 2 favorites, 4 and 5, Hey Porter and Dust Devil. Now, wait, I did like the 4. And let me go back. I somehow crossed it out. Let me just look at 4 and 5, the 2 opening chalks. Can they be beat by the other? Can they beat the others? This may be a play here. Even 4 and 5. Now, the 4 has taken the big drop. And 5 has a couple races at Belmont and Aqueduct that were good, but at Parx, it's not running good. So Dust Devil, I'm not so concerned. Dust Devil is taking the money because of Ness, and it is going to be part of the pace. But it has the 2 races at Parx are 2 of the slowest races in its career. So he's making the drop. Ruben Silvera up. So do you look? I'm not using 5. And 5, no is 5-1. And Hey Porter, number 4, is dropping. I got to include that based on the last race. But still, it's... I'll put 4 with a question mark. So I'm going, I got 6 deep here because it did come off a 6th place finish, 5.5 back at the 25K level. And when Flores Coba drops, he's 25%. And with the jockey, Vasquez, 18%. So this is one to look over here. So I spent more time on this one than I wanted to. Okay, on to race number 7. So we got 4 races left to go. See who's commenting here. Okay. It's 2, 1, 2. Race 6. I actually have 8 as my top choice here. I threw out the 5, but so we're somewhat on the same page there. Christopher, I didn't like Ness's 5. His 2 races at Parx look weak to me. There are others that are running better here than the 5, but the 8 is certainly one of the top. I have that one as a co-top choice with the 7 and the 3, and even the 2 to it, 1, 2 to an extent. All right, thanks for sharing that, Chris. Donald, Senior Investment cost me 3 weeks ago. Pennington Sticks 1 to consider a 10-year-old. Senior Investment. Not sure. The name sounds familiar, but Sticks 1 to consider a 10-year-old. So I don't know what race that is, but I know it sounds like he's in there today. That sucks. About it. It cost me. And paid for that 7. Okay. 7% jock. All right. I'm going to take a look at race 7 now. Good. Thanks for joining us, Donald Daly. Senior Investment. All right. I see him. The one with Pennington. Yeah. That's the 3. I have that actually as a win contender today, but we'll have to take a look. I'll put a number 10 next to it. You said it's a 10-year-old? Okay, we'll see. We'll look at that later. But we got 4 races to go here. Okay, race 7. Big fields at Parx today. So I'm going through the card first time through, making my notes. And if you're wondering, I got my notes here. This last one got a little sloppy, but I know what I'm doing. On the right, I got the early speeds. 5 does have the early speed next race, Chris. That's one thing I got going for it. In this race, I'm all over the place. Dashes, 8 first choice, 7 second choice, and 3 third choice. The dashes mean that they're kind of, those are the 3 I like best to win. followed by the 1 and the 2. And on the left, over the 6, I threw the 4 in. Initially, I had 4 for second, but I got 4 with a question mark above the 6, and that stands for, I initially had it, and he's dropping, big drop in class, has some numbers. And on the left of numbers later, like by the number 5, on the left side, extreme left side, I'll throw my scratches. So I'm looking at the most important things, and I go in order efficiently. I have a game plan when I go in handicapping. Game plan is to see what the early pace looks like, then go and, considering the early pace, look at the speed figures, look at the jockey a bit, trainer, and line up who I like best to win with everything I know so far. And then after scratches, then we can go further. I don't want to spend 15 minutes looking at a horse with some weird angle, some esoteric angle that he might come in and then it gets scratched. I could address that later after the scratches and as the card unfolds. And I want to thank everyone for joining us today for the morning show where we're handicapping the entire Parx card for today's 11:50 Live Parx Horse Racing Pick show. And you're seeing how I do it from start to finish. Race 6. So you like the 3 there. He has numbers, no doubt about it. And, okay, race 7. Big field, 12-horse field. Another one of these 7 furlongs race. They're really giving us them today. Where I see off, okay, let's see what we got. Let's look at the pace. Is there an early speed? Now, 4 races to go. Okay. Vanishing Faith. I see Vanishing Faith. He's had early speed. Xenatown. Pearl Dancing has some early speed. I'm going to list it this way. Pearl Dancing did grab the lead at 7, running like a 3 flat opening quarter at the distance. Pearl Dancing, but Vanishing Faith is the speed of the speed, but he's stretching out. How about Xenatown? I'm looking for those who really like to go to the front. Yeah, I'm going to list 8 as the main speed in race 7, followed by Pearl Dancing, and then who grabbed the front at 7, number 10, and then number 6, Xenatown. What about the numbers in this 12-horse, 7 furlong race? Race 7. And this is 7 cheap claimers. 1, I tell you, the 1 horse is running every other day, it seems. It's raced 24 times this year. Now it's coming back after running December 19th. I don't see it winning. Hasn't. Did last time it won was October 23rd at 7. It did run at 7 furlongs. It does well at 7 furlongs. I mean, the last time it didn't. But it has a first and a second the previous times in October at 7 furlongs. Very low percentage trainer. I'm not going to go crazy on that one. This is 7.5 furlongs. Scott Lake has a consistent runner. So far, we see our standout here, one that can definitely get the distance. Ran well the last two on a wet track. More Ransom. So far, 4 looks like the best one for Miguel Rodriguez. Gets Dexter Haddock. Rodriguez is 16%. Hasn't won in a while. Last time it won was in June at Penn National, though. I'm looking for better here. The Lake entry does look interesting. But 3 and 4 look best at this point. Vanishing Faith has some speed, moving up in class. Trader moving up in class is only 8%. Felix Koba. It's going to be distance challenged. Nest entry dropping in class. Number 11. Yeah, the 11 looks best. Ran a nice one. It's 1-2 straight. Now Nest drops, gets Pennington, got the numbers, very consistent. It won at its first race at Parx last race. Coming back in 18 days. Nest bringing them back this quick. Wins going back a sample size of 7,000 races. Wins 25%, bringing them back this quick. And also seems like the fastest. So I'm going to go 10 there. Number 11 I like best in the 7th. And the other one I like next best is I think the Scott Lake entry. Let me just double check. Wait, 4, 3. Scott Lake entry has. And the next best I like is I'm not going to go crazy. 2 second place finishes. I know it's moving up in class for Miguel Rodriguez, but he's 14% moving up, and he's good with the jockey. Clean running line. Number 4 is the next best. I just want to look 3, 2, 1. The Scott Lake one has one really big race on a wet track. You know, if you go back 5 back. The 2 might be an interesting bomb. Stays at the level just because of what it's done at this distance. So I'm going to list 2 third, and I'm going to list another one behind it. But I think we got 2 standouts in the 4-2 for those playing pick 3s. Yeah, I'm thinking exacta here, or maybe a trifecta play in this. And I think one is a sneaky one. That's the one that's run 24 times this year, but he has a first and a second at this specific distance. What happened in the 7 furlong where he didn't do good 3 back? He broke awkwardly, and then he had energy late. He had a bad start. So this one, the 1 actually looks like a specialist at this distance. And we don't. So I'm going to list 1 and 2 in 1 and 2. I'm going to put a dash between them because they might be perfect to grind out the trifecta. So I like 11 best, 4 second best. But now looking at it a little closer, the 1 or the 2 might be better than the 4. The 4 is raising in class. The 2 stays at the same level, as does the 1. So I'm going to put an up, 4. Maybe he's going into this class. And how has the 4 run at this level? 4th, 7 1/4 back. 2nd, 1 back. It's almost a coin flip between 1, 2, and 4 for second place, really. So I noted that the 4 is moving up, and the 1 and 2 seem to do very well under these conditions, especially the 1 seems to really love this distance. So let's look at the odds here. I'm curious what the 1's going to be, considering it's already started 24 races this year. Okay, odds of the picks. I liked 11 best. What do we got? 11, 7-2. I like 4 second best. 9-2, and that's the second choice. So we seem to be on the same page. And then I have 1, 2 who seem to do very well at the distance, and 1, 2 are both 15-1. So what we have here is a scenario where we have 2 bombs, especially the 1's good at the distance. I'm going to put I won't go as far as to circle the race, meaning it's a great opportunity, but I will do my next best and put a dot next to it, which means it's one to really keep an eye on here. So that's there. I just want to look at 3 quick. Luna T, who is the 3rd choice, who I didn't like. Yeah, and I'm going to list that last because that's the Scott Lake entry that did fire a really fast race, faster than any of these here, 5 back on a wet track at Parx. And this one has run at the level, so I'm going to list 8 here also with a question mark. So maybe you want to do 11 over these 4, 50 cent. 11 is 11 over 4, 1, 2, 4, 8. And what does that cost? That costs $6. And then maybe you want to do another 6 and put 11 second place. And maybe you get one of your bombs home, one of the 1, 2, 4, or 8. But I think 11 is pretty good. I just want to check 11's pace to see if he's going to be completely out of it or. No, he's not going to be completely out of it. He should have enough speed that he can at least clear some of the field and be in position. Just want to look at this 11 one quick second, and let's go on to race 8. A lot of horses here in these races today. And the thing to note about the 11 is it had been running at 6 furlongs, okay, and at the stretching out to 7 seemed to have improved it as it had its best race. So the extra furlong, looks like, at least by the sample size, and now also dropping from 12.5 to 7.5. So Ness drops. When he drops in class, he's 27% and nearly 2,000. So yeah, first, second at least, I think, for this one. And the other ones, you got bombs 1, 2, and even the 8 is a little long, right? No, I didn't want the 8 as my 3rd choice. I'm using the 3 as one to keep an eye on. I listed, of 1, 2, 3. I think 8 is the cheap speed. And I'll put 8. I don't even know. I got them listed as the speed. I'll list 3 as my, another co-choice to keep an eye on from Lake. So, but 4, 1, 2, and 3 underneath. So you got a pair of them at 15-1 in the 1 and 2. Okay, on to race 8. And they give us, look at this, a 14-horse field. Are they AEs here? What the hell's going on? Okay, we got 3 races to go. Great card they're giving us, though. And they're giving us the weird distances, though. 6.5 furlongs. See if anybody else has joined us. I want to say hello. Race 6, number 3. Donald Daly. Yeah, I have him underneath. If he runs, it's very competitive race here for second, I think. Definitely, I'm including him there, Donald. Thanks for sharing it with us. Leloy. Hey, good morning, Leloy. How's it going? Okay, awesome handicapping yesterday, especially the last 2 races where you were adamant that the 3 was the best horse in race 10. Yeah, and got the bomb home in the second to last race, Paco Lopez, to hit the late double. And finished up yesterday for the day. And thanks, though, Leloy. Yeah, and I did the same thing yesterday. For those of you here joining us, I handicapped the entire Gulfstream Park card the same way, trying to give you a look into how I do the handicapping. I believe it's a very efficient way. You're not getting lost somewhere, going down a rabbit hole looking for some weird angle and spending too much time later only to find out the horse scratched. I can do stuff like that on the fly while the card's unfolding. And you don't want to do that, get caught up doing that, and then find out the horse is scratched. I'm handicapping here after scratches. So let your horse racing friends know about the morning show. It's a new edition that began last week because we cover the card here, cover cards sometimes. Sometimes we talk about other subjects. And if you want to get your horse racing fix in the morning, this is the place to be, man. Okay, now we're going to look at race number 8. I don't know if these are AEs or this. Yeah, race 8, the 14 and the 13 are AEs. Thank heaven. So we're looking at a 12-horse field here. Race 8. 6.5 on dirt. Looks like the speed's inside. Now, 2 shows a lot of early speed, right? Disco Devil at Penn in Delaware, but came here at Parx and ran at 6.5, and he ran at 23.5. So it doesn't look like he has the early speed that he has at other tracks at Parx. So with that in mind, I'll go down to number 5, Mo Delicious. This one has a lot of early speed at Parx. Ran unusually fast last time at 6 furlongs. Now it's 6.5 at Tampa, which can be a bit of a cuppy track. Has shown some early speed, I think. So I think 5 is a early speed contender, and he does like to go to the front. I'm rolling down. Rockin' Freebie. That one likes to stalk the lead. And I'm going to have to say that, so far, 5 is the early lead type, and 9 up for parole. Nah. Chip's Friend. Nah. Okay. So I'm looking 5-2 here. I think 5 is the Rockin' Frisbee. 5-7 is the speed here in this race. 5 followed by 7, and then followed by 2, who did show very good early speed at Penn in Delaware, but 23.5 here at Parx at today's distance. What about number 3, Edenish? I'll list them in order. 5, 7, 2, 3 as the front runners. And let's look at the numbers here for race 8. I'm going to be meeting Vinny Bracco, Brooklyn guy Vinny Bracco, for Starbucks coffee at 10:15 today. And then 11:50, we're coming back, and we'll be doing live Parx horse racing picks covering the entire card that I'm handicapping right here today, right here on the morning show. Okay, feedback's always appreciated. If you like the show, hit the like button. If you want reminders, hit the subscribe. This way you know when and where I'm gonna be going live with shows, or when new videos pre-recorded or released. Let's look down the road here. 6.5 furlongs, another strange distance. You see now this Disco Devil ran its worst career race here after coming to Parx. This is a 7.5 claimer race. It did run a 12.5 and it came in ninth, 18 back at today's distance, and didn't show its usual early speed. So far, 1 and 2, nothing to write home about. Now, one did have vet scratches the last two. Jockey of the two is a 1% winning percentage. 9% trainer. 1% jock on race 3, 6% jock, and 665 races at Parx. I don't like it. I need a horse that jumps out at me. 5 is the early speed and does have clean races, but it's off now 5 months. How is the trainer when he's off that long? Last race over 90 days, only 8% out of 38%. Carlos Soto, he's kind of a sneaky trainer, but the horse has a clean running line and did win 2 back at 6. Now we're asking 6.5. When it ran at 6.5 at Tampa, it was 12.5 back, but we're going to list them. I figure this one's, it does have a couple wins. And the trainer removing bandages today for this. He's 18% Soto, removing bandages. And he's 12% at Parx. And you got to respect them. And the horse is consistent. So I'm going to put the 5 on the line. And I'll put whoever I like better or worse behind him. Early speed, too. And, it should have a significant early speed edge. Jockey and Soto is 12% at Parx. And 8% with Ocasio. Oh, no. Now we got Golden Wildcat who blows the doors off the others sprinting. So I'm definitely listing 6 before the 5. I may even throw the 5 out when push comes to shove. So far I like 6 best. I'm going to make a note of him on the bottom. And number 8 is in very good form and has numbers that look like only second behind the 6 so far. Chip's Friend, he's in good form now. Race it ran on at the end of November, won the race by a length at this distance. And you have 14% trainer Catalano Jr. with Miguel Sanchez, 20%. Together they're 21%. So I'm going to list the 11. So far, the order of these that I like are 6. No, that's 10, not 11. 6, 10, 8. Look at the 8 for a second. Okay, let's look at the 6. Whew. They're close. And depends which horse shows up. Omerta Code, turning back. Race 4 back at 7, got off slowly and rallied and won. So that had to come back. The trainer is 8%. Josu Arcs. Not as fast as the others lately. Looking at form. 12, no. Okay, so I'm looking at 6, 10, 8 here in this race. And we'll put 11 fourth with a question mark because it did have a good race. 4 back at 7 here at Parx. Usually it runs longer. Usually runs 7. I think he likes it shorter. I don't know. I'll just put it, keep an eye on it. And there was one other that I talked about earlier who I really dismissed the more I looked at the card. Yeah, the 3, 5. Yeah, it's going to be part of the early speed and slip out of it. The 3 maybe. What happened last race? Okay, here's what I'm going to do here. This race, I'm going to go 6-10 co-favorites. You don't know, they're so close; it's too close to call. 5, I'm removing. 6-10. 6-10 with a dash, followed by 8. And who's that last one I mentioned? The 3. And then 11, who is as a fourth choice. Let me see what I thought about that 11. He likes it longer. LG. Okay, so we're in the race. Let's look at the odds of 6 and 10. I got to figure their first two. 1, 2. Golden Wildcat, number 6, 5-1, and number 10, Chip's Friend, 6-1. Number 8, Modern Midas, 9-2. Okay, so I'll let you know right now that 6-1 represents the third choice here. Modern Minus. And number 11, a murder code, 15-1. The favorite actually is up for parole, 4-1, number 9. Let's take a look at number 9. If we got the morning line favorite off the board, I'm going to have to circle this race. Okay, let's take a look at number 9 here. Now, a weak favorite, number 9. So 8 gets circled. So 7 and 8 look like good play races. The 7 gets a dot, which means a moderately very strong race. And 8 gets a circle. We got the horrible favorite in number 9 up for parole, 4-1. I don't even have. I have the fourth choice as the 11 at 15-1, folks. That a murder code. Okay. Now we move on to race number 9. 6, definitely a strong choice, Christopher. Thanks for sharing. 9, I can't stand it. I don't see it as having a chance, but good luck. I'm not one to talk anybody off their horse. We'll look at it closer on the show. Let's look at race 9. We got 2 races left. How many entries in here? Gigantic fields today. I'm going to step away for a minute and just heat up the coffee, and we'll cover the last 2. And be right back. I want to thank everyone for joining us today on the morning show. Okay, and we're back. Welcome to the morning show. I'm your host, Al. I'm going to be covering all the races here at Parx. I have my notes for every race. And looking at the last race, I'm thinking of a Leloy here. He hit a dime super straight yesterday in order, just spent 10 cents on it, spent a dime and got back, I think, about 26.90 or 24.60. I don't know. I think it was 26 bucks for 10 cents. And the last race, uh, especially reminds me of it, where I'm near certain that either 6, 10, or 8 are going to win that race. And for dime soup, this might be a good race to play for dime supers. And even the seventh race, where you might single one on top and use 4 underneath, 4, 1, 2, 3, or start with 6, 8, 10, 6, 8, 10, because just use 3 in the first 2 legs and spread out a little underneath. They may be great dime super races. And I'm taking my notes for the card. The right column next is who I like. I do the pace first, who I figure to be out front, not going for crazy angles. I have a plan. And then I go the left, the horses I like best in order to win. And then the far left later, I'll list my scratches, make adjustments from there. And even still, I'm up to the 9th race. I started the show at 8 o'clock. So you see an hour 40. And if you take away the couple of breaks times, probably an hour and 20 or so has been invested. And I'm still got 2 races to go. So I put work into these and I go in with a plan. And I just go with the key factors first, and then maybe I'll look for hidden gems and after scratches and as the races unfold. So with that in mind, we go into race 9, and got 2 more to go. I'm meeting my friend Vinny Bracco. He comes on the show sometimes. He co-hosts me with me, once in a while here and there. This is a challenging show, so I usually do these shows alone. It's tough to have a guest on during the live shows when covering all the races. Like the show I'm going to be doing at 11:50 today. But once in a while I have him on, and he has a great show. Talks about a lot of interesting topics. So if you like Vinny, check out his show and subscribe to it. You won't be sorry. Just do a search on YouTube, Vinny Bracco or Brooklyn Guy Vinny Bracco, and you won't be sorry. He has an excellent show. And if you like Vinny, subscribe to him. This way you get a heads up when he comes on. And he does a lot of shows, sometimes multiple shows a day. So, and he has a lot of great shorts too that he puts out there, some with humor, some on location stuff. So, subscribe to him if you like Vinny, and give his channel a shout out. Much appreciated if you do. And again, he has good stuff. And you see him on my show, and he gives out a lot of sports picks. I have sports connections. So let's go to race number 9. We got 10 races at 10, another 6.5 furlong race. What are they doing to us today? They're making it really tough. But the handicapping, what I've seen of these so far, I'm keeping that in mind. And I think I've uncovered some hidden gems here just the first time through the card. We're not going to let the 6.5 and 7 furlongs phase us. They're trying to make it tough. And in race 8, I see a very vulnerable favorite in the 9. If you're playing the super, maybe you want to throw it in the 3rd and 4th spots or there. Like I see an 11 in here who could win at its best as my 4th choice. Murder Code opens 15-1. So this could be an opportunity to cash a dime super for a very minimal investment. And a Loy, this is one I wouldn't just play for 10 cents because but I would say put 3 on top. This is one you may want to put that 240 or whatever into it and get it done and maybe get a nice, maybe even $100 return. Okay, race 9. Let's look at it. Okay, we do have a big early speed here. It's 6.5. Even at 7. Yeah. Trader's Luck is the speed here. Seeing if anyone can run with them. Maybe Legal Deal. Yeah. Wow. Trader's Luck, yeah. 7 is the speed. And Legal Deal has a lot of early speed and more of a stalking type. So I'll list him second, but he's run quick at 6.5. He's run 22.13, 22.19. I mean, and if you consider the run-up time for Trader's Luck, he's actually run sub 22 second. And he's the one that goes to the front all the time. If you consider the run-up time is a beam. They start calling like who's going to be in front of. They like at the first call, second call. They have a laser beam. When the horse runs past the laser beam, it trips the clock that's going to try time the opening call, which takes place at a quarter. But that beam, that laser beam, could be 100 feet, 200 feet, sometimes as much as 500 feet past the starting gate. So the horses are running for a while before the clock goes off and starts timing. So in considering the laser beam, number 7, Trader's Luck, is running sub 22 second opening quarters. So this one has a big early speed edge, number 7, and I do have 3 listed as the secondary speed. So let's take a look at the numbers now, and we have 10 entries in this race. One is running very slow, and this is a 7.5K. 2 has a good race 2 back, but it was at 5.5. It's not impressing me. It has a nice race 2 back at 5.5. Last race in the mud, and it's a 7-year-old. 1, 2, 3, no great shakes. 4 in bad form. Moving up, no thanks. Now I mentioned 3 has a lot of early speed. It's been folding, folks. Number 5. I'm looking for better. 6 has a good race at 6. Has some nice races in here. Jamie Ness. Yeah, the 6 looks best so far. 7, the speed. Am I correct? Spaceship Blanca, or was it 8 that had the big early speed? Oh, I'm looking at. Let me go. I got to go to race 9. I was looking at 10 there a second. Wow. Okay. Dixie, 2 stints. Jamie Nest, a couple of nice races. 2 seconds in a row for Ness here at 6. Close gap late. So I think this one is going to appreciate the extra speed. Frankie Pennington and Ness together, 28%, covering 736. The other Ness entry has a big race 2 back at Penn National, but at Parx, it ran big at the 40K claiming level and drops. So far, 1 and 3 looks like a pair of Nesses that are the fastest so far. Oh boy. The 7 quick return has very quick races, 2, 3 back at this distance. And wow, really likes this distance. So far, 6 looks fastest. Tough race. Trader's Luck, that's the early speed. I'll tell you what, this one is a wire thread. I'm going to put 6 and 7 as co for the top spot here. big race at Penn National. Parx has 3 wins out of its last 5 races, 6 races. This 8 goes off a long layoff. Mr. Roundtree for Dexter Haddock. I'm going to list 6, 7, and 3 as my top choices so far. It's a very contentious race. And 1 and 3, 1 is my 4th choice, very tough. And I'm going to go back to number 3 for a second. The Ness entry number 3 in the 9th. 1 and then 3. So I got 5 listed there. We move on to race 10. So 6, 7, and 3 I have as my favorites. Let me check the 3 again real quick. Okay, I just got to make a no, I don't need to make a phone call. Nine. So I'm going to list 6, 7, and 9 as my favorites, and 1 maybe I'm going to underline Ness as I think you could put that in there too. But some of the other these have been faster. 9 especially. Oh boy. And let's look at the odds as I have it so far. Okay, and they have the 1 as the favorite. I disagree with Ness being the favorite. I have that as I think it can win. It's up there with the 6, 7, and 9. But let's list the number 6, opens 5-1, 6 return gift. 7, Trader's Luck. I mean, if you want to bet a show horse, this one's going to run away, has some big early speed, and 9, 6-1. So the ones that look really dangerous, I'm going to underline 2 underlines under the 1, and the 3 Legal Deal, the other Ness, 3-1. I mean, all of these can win. There's something about all of them there, but 7 and 9 especially, I'm going to underline. They're big prices, 9-1 and 6-1. I'm going to circle this race. I'm actually going to dot it. I'm a little concerned about the Ness factor. He opens with the 2 favorites, and I just don't see 3 as being the one. Yeah, I think the winner comes out of 6, 7, 9, or 1. Okay, let's go to race 10. What are we looking at here? 13 entries. Now I got to think the last one. Let's look at the. Okay, let me just call Vinny. Let me tell him 620 is better because I want to get through these without rushing them. 1 second. I'll just text him. We'll be there closer to 620, 1020. All right, just give him a heads up. I don't want to rush anything. Okay. Race 10. Let's look at the pace. Now, this is 7 furlongs. They give us all challenging races at that weird distance. 12 entries with an AE. Okay, he saw it. Race 10-2 looks like the speed, likes the dry track better. Distance may be a problem. The other one is number 6, Glory Dia. Again, they're stretching out from the 6. Does anyone have an experience at 7 that that shows early speed. No. Oh, Starship Blanca. No. That has a Starship Blanca does have experience at the distance. Now, we can't get around the early speeds here. Glory Dia. 2 is going to be the speed there. And it does have experience at the distance. It perennially goes to the front. So 2 is the early speed. I just want to look at Angita. No, not as fast as the other 2. 2 followed by 7, 1. How about 1? Hatch speed at Emerald Downs at 6, but no, it's 2.5 is the 2.6 is the pace here in race 10. Now, what about the numbers? Race 10. Let's talk about it. I want to thank everyone for joining us for the morning show today. As we prep today's topic, I talk about other stuff sometimes, but today's topic, handicapping the entire Parx card. When I started handicapping this card, I did not know anything about it except post time was 12:05, and there were 10 races. Okay, let's look at the 1. No, I don't like the races. Too slow. This is 7.5 claimers. 2 got the early speed. Take Charge Erica has a second place finish. In the last race, it made him claim 5. Came another second at 5.5 at Parx. Did show the early speed. Is raising and going up in class for Susan Crowell with Silvestri Gonzalez up a 16% jock. Together at 10%. Susan at Parx, a 6% winning percentage in about 620 races. The best thing I could say about this one is early speed, and it has a nice race 2 back. Got nailed at the wire last time, came in second by a half. It's moving up in class, though. No, it stays at the same level, 5. So this is the bottom of the barrel. So with the early speed edge, and that it did finish a close second last race in a wet track. In March it ran here. Okay, so you got the early speed edge. Let's see if there's anybody faster, though. Michael Moore. And no. I prefer 2 over 3. I don't like 4. Even in the stretch, never involved, flattened out, moved closer, then faded. Okay, so far 2 is the standout. Jamie Ness has one, Glory Dia, and that's the 6. The other early speed has a big 1-2 back, dropping in class for this. And I think I give this one an edge over the 2. Outkicked. Let me go back and look at the 2 a second. Yeah, I'm looking at the back 2 back. It's dropping. It has speed. Ness. So far 6-2 is how I see it, the first 2 finishes here. This is 7 furlongs. This one has not. When they try and stretch it to 7, it gets worse. 9, can't go there. 10, horrible. 11, very strange. Had a race in June. How far was that race? Let me look at that for a second. Congrats is the sire. Let me look at this. Come on, give me a. And we go down to number okay, interesting one is number 11 here. Got to overcome the post. He usually runs longer, but I see he's run some good sprint races, Miss Loyalty. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to list 11 as my last choice with a question mark in race 10. And the other ones to go through are in this order. I'm going to go 6 followed by 2. And I'm just going to go back and see what we got here. Now, the 6 is a Ness entry. The 8 has trouble at the distance. 6 to 11 with a question mark. If the 12 gets in, it's too slow. I'm going to take a look at 9 a little bit, 8 a little bit with a question mark, because it does pop some big ones. It has some in July, June and July, it ran some good ones to go back to here at Parx that could do some damage. So I'm going to list 8 with a question mark as well as my third choice. So now let's look at the odds of these 3. Let's look at the odds of these 3. And that's the card there. Okay, race 10. Number 6 does open at 5-2. Number 2, the big speed, at 5-2 is the favorite for Ness. 2, the big speed at 5-1. 8, who I have, Miss Malevolence, is 6-1. Now it has those back races and some earlier ones that fit this. And 11, Miss Loyalty, maybe your show, maybe your show horse there. Opening at 10-1. And what I do want to look at Starship Blanca, who is listed as the second choice at 9-2. And I did toss that one. There was something I didn't like about it. And if it comes to mind, I think that's the one that really fell apart when it ran at 7 furlongs. No, it did run a bad race last race, but there was something about it that I didn't like. It's coming in light. I'll keep an eye on that one. 5. Starship. It does have a couple. It has earlier races. I think I gotta give this one a little bit more credit for Moscow. Robert Moscow is a 15% trainer at Parx with, it is getting weight, so I'm kind of going to slip that in there. I'm going to put it underneath the 2 as my co-second choice at 9-2. So you see my completed sheet. Okay, I got everything done. For all 10 here, pace figures on the left, right, in order who I like to win, best in order. I got 8 and 11 with question marks. I listed 5 under the 2 as my co-second choice. And it's going to be a tough race, and I'll catch up with the chat. What do we got here? Okay, Laloy, I'm looking at your main page, Coach. Did you notice your live stream yesterday got 2,000 views? Yes, when during live, 37 people were watching. Wow, I'm glad they enjoy the show. And if you have horse racing friends, let them know, please, about the channel. They probably enjoy it. If they're not horse racing fans or players, no sense telling them about it. Only if they are. Looks like a few thousand people watches all of your live stream. Yeah, but it's getting, we're getting some good receptions, and we got a great crowd here. And I'm prepared for the show. 4,000 viewers, only 5 day old. Donald, any stats on Sanchez-Ness combination? I'll take a look at that for a second. In this race, I guess that's rate number 6, right? I don't have the Sanchez-Ness here on this one, but we'll talk about it if we come up to it later. I got to step out. I'm meeting Vinny Bracco, Vinny, for coffee at 10:20. So I want to thank everyone for joining us. I hope you can make it for the 11:50 show, live Parx horse racing picks, where we're going to cover every single race, analysis, picks, and plays, open chat, and we're fully prepared for it here. We put in the work. You may want to go back and look at some of this, the later races especially, if you want to get a heads up on in-depth analysis for those races as the card unfolds, because I'll be describing, you'll see how I eliminated horses and picked horses and why. So have a great rest of the morning, everybody. I hope you could make it at 11:40, 11:50. And who's there? Square. Race 10, Donald. 8 with 2, 7, 11. I have 8 as my third, fourth choice. 2, 7. Okay. And thanks for watching, everybody. And remember, may the horse always be with you.